Hello and welcome to your Cancer full moon forecast for today, January 13th, 2025. Today we're going to dive into the chart of the full moon from here in the Pacific Northwest, but of course this applies to wherever you are in the world. I am your astrologer, Cawnawyn Moore, and let's take a look. Alright, here is my chart for the full moon set to 0 degrees Aries as my rising. So if you take 2:27 p.m. anywhere where you are in the world and translate it to your clock, so I have it in Pacific time, this should be about what the chart looks like, but your rising sign will be different. So you can see how this is affecting your community, your general area. I just have it set here so we don't even cover any of the houses or rising signs, and we can just use this as a tool for teaching. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, where's our moon, right? Here's our moon here at 23 degrees of Cancer, opposing the sun at 23 degrees of Capricorn. Here is our opposition. Remembering oppositions are typically energy brought in by relationships, by something other coming to us. So in this instance, you might be standing in the sun's energy in Capricorn, which is practical and grounded. It's ruled by Saturn, so this is taking into account long-term effort and endurance and overcoming challenges. These are both cardinal signs, so definitely an activating energy within this opposition, going towards a new beginning, a new start, because these start the seasons as cardinal signs, Capricorn being the start of winter in the Northern Hemisphere, Cancer being the start of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. So we have our Saturn-ruled sun sign in Capricorn, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, opposing, maybe you're standing the moon's energy of this more intuitive and emotionally connected Cancer energy ruled by the moon itself. The moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. So it's comfortable here in its home sign of the divine feminine. We kind of can look to Capricorn as being a representation of masculine, even though technically it is a feminine sign or a yin sign. Both are yin signs. This is a yin axis, right? But oftentimes we see that Capricorn energy is sort of being a connection to paternal or patriarchal, because there is an element of a hierarchy involved with Saturn. They look to who's in charge, who's at the top of the mountain, right? And then Cancer can often represent the divine feminine. Sometimes we see this as the parental axis of father and mother. This is not a hard, fast rule by any stretch, so if that doesn't resonate with you, leave it. And if it does resonate with you, great. Use it as a tool if it is helpful. You might be finding yourself standing in one of these two energies. Are you coming from this more intuitive, softer space of that Cancerian moon, where it's tapped into the emotions? Perhaps it's very reflective. Perhaps it is being projected upon. It can often happen with my Cancers. And remembering too that Cancer is very protective. It is a crab. To sort of underscore that, the moon, I would say, is definitely conjunct our Mars, which is going currently retrograde in Cancer. It's been traveling through the sign of Cancer as well as Leo for a number of months now. And we've been definitely feeling the effects of this because it's been also opposing the sun's nearby neighbor, Pluto, newly in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So we have this opposition really being underscored by this Mars opposing Pluto happening. Mars was exactly opposing Pluto back on January 2nd. It also opposed Pluto in Capricorn and Cancer for the last time back on November 3rd, before Pluto moved firmly into Aquarius on November 19th. So this full moon might be actually really revving up and triggering some of those things around November 3rd that you might have been feeling. Are any of the interpersonal conflicts coming back up? Are any of the internal struggles or decisions coming back into light? The sun might be illuminating this on that full moon. The sun might be illuminating a need to feel more protective or defensive. Because if we think of our crab with its claws, it is defending, especially its own territory. Mars in Cancer can be quite territorial, and now the moon is coming in and really emphasizing that through this full moon. What else are we doing here? We do have this nice trine between Mars and Neptune right now, exact with this full moon. Neptune is in its final phases of its time in Pisces, where it's been since 2012, so a lot's been happening, and it's coming up into a conjunction with that North Node sitting right there at 0 degrees of Aries. If you guys listened to my year forecast that I did with Bonfire Babble, or if perhaps you took my class on 2025, which is available if you're interested, I talked a lot about that 0 degrees Aries point being a really important point for this entire year. And both the moon and the Mars right now are talking to this, as is the sun and Pluto. We're kind of getting our first inklings of what this point might be bringing us. This full moon might even be activating that energy within us because they're all in cardinal signs here. The sun being in Capricorn, the moon being in Cancer, and then of course 0 degrees Aries being a cardinal point for the beginning of spring as well. What is being illuminated for you? I'd love to know in the comments if you're interested in commenting. I love reading what people's personal stories are. Pluto is kind of acting in a sextile or collaborative relationship with this North Node, suggesting like a deeper transformational like awareness around where's the direction we're going, and a collaboration with, we're bringing in, here's that trine to our South Node in Libra, bringing in some of our past lessons, past wisdom and gifts that we're going to transform and take us into this new place that we're going into of 0 degrees Aries at the moment, and it's about to go into Pisces, conjoining that Neptune. So Neptune and Pisces at the very end of this journey is really kind of muddying the waters, blurring the lines, and allowing us to step into this like kind of dreamy, just like question of what is about to be born, like that big question of the potential of something. I really see Neptune as like just being beyond the veil where it is birthed into the entire zodiacal wheel. And we're going to be experiencing that rebirth as a collective in the next year of 2025 in a really profound way. So this full moon might be kind of eliminating some of those lessons that maybe we're looking to the past, that we have to wrap up some loose ties. Perhaps we need to let go of some things in order for us to move into this transformational change we're all going through. Capricorn Cancer tends to be very nostalgic, reflective, right? We are working with a water and an earth sign, and Capricorn being tied to Saturn is often looking to the past, to tradition, to what has been set as a foundation to work off of, and historical precedents. So maybe you're looking at your own historical precedences right now, looking back, feeling reflective, and having to emotionally or physically tie up some loose ends before we really proceed into the new year. I've been struck with just how profound like the amount of rest that I think everybody is really needing to experience this winter. It's coming across in a very obvious way, where in recent years it's felt more like new year, new energy, and this year really feels like, yes, it's the new year, but we're actually still very much hibernating. So what does that mean for you? How are you resonating with that energy? Have you been plowing ahead, trying to start your new year off on a new foot, or have you taken the option to step back a little bit and wait before you progress into new energy? And a little bit about the sun's ruler, right? This is Saturn sitting here also in Pisces. Pisces is really emphasized right now and will continue to be so through the next few seasons. Cancerian energy is in a beautiful trine to Pisces water energy. And Saturn, our sun's ruler right now, is sitting in a close conjunction as Venus moves into being conjunct with Saturn. So Venus right here in Pisces is exalted. She is really comfortable in Pisces. She is able to really just embrace unconditional love and creativity and, create a lot of beauty and a lot of compassion. And those are all things that Venus wants to do in order to cultivate relationship. And she's kind of coming in here to soften Saturn a little bit. So are you feeling that effective Venus maybe softening the effects of this full moon? Perhaps even Neptune making it a little rosier and hazier? Or has the emotional charging of this moon conjunct Mars as a part of this full moon really hammered in that emphasis to need to protect and defend itself? Have you been feeling a little bit on edge? Have you been feeling attacked perhaps? Have you been feeling like you need to buckle down and prepare for things? What is coming up for you? Because I really feel like there are a lot of different challenging energies here that are presenting a lot of different potential opportunities. You might be living out the Sun-Moon opposition while you might see somebody else living out that Saturn coming into its conjunction with Venus. Saturn with Venus together also can be a sort of planning for the long term, putting off immediate gratification in order to build for, grow toward something longer lasting and more rewarding in the future. And so Saturn's willing to put in the time and the endurance to grow something, cultivate something, Venus, that is worth a lot more in the long run. So are you making plans to do that for this year? Maybe that's part of needing to rest this winter, is conserving your energy, conserving your resources. Last thing I just want to touch on, the sun and the moon are exactly at 23 degrees of earth and water, therefore making a trine. So sun is in trine to Uranus in Taurus, which is just about to go direct. It's just going to sit at that 23-degree mark for another 30 days. And the moon is also at 23. So something about this full moon might even feel like some kind of a breakthrough. Uranus wants to liberate us, and often it does that by kind of shaking us out of whatever status quo we've been living in and saying, wake up. And sometimes that wake up can feel really, really hard because we don't want to wake up. We were quite comfortable actually, like dozing away, and Uranus might say, nope, now is the time. So maybe now is the time to come out of that period of rest for you. Maybe you're feeling the call to actually get the engines revving, and Uranus is saying, okay, it's time to break into whatever new beginning you're looking for. Uranus is slowing down. It's incredibly slow right now because it's going to move direct in just a couple of days on the 30th. And so when that happens, Uranus is at its most powerful station because it's going to be stationing direct, therefore kind of moving at a standstill, so not moving in the sky. And when that happens, it's full of all this potential energy that can really make its power super profound, super intimate in our lives, and we can feel that in that section of the chart. So my question for you would be, okay, so where's this 23-degree Capricorn sun in your natal chart? What house is that operating in? Because that sun is bringing that life and vitality to your Capricorn place, but now it's having to reflect itself against wherever this moon placement is. 23 degrees Cancer, where is that in your chart? It'll be exactly opposing the opposite house. So something about that axis of houses for you in your own natal chart may really be emphasized. And if you look to where 23 degrees of Uranus is in your chart, you might see an instigator or an activation coming from that arena of your house. So maybe that house is what's actually causing you to come to realizations, come to illuminations, come to deciding to take action around those spaces within your life. So it can be very helpful to look at where these planets are in your own natal chart and see how they're relating and see who's talking to who. And this is especially emphasized if you have a planet on 23 degrees, frankly, in any sign, but especially in these cardinal signs, in earth signs, in water signs. This full moon is talking directly to you. And if you have any questions about that or you want more guidance on that, I do offer a short recorded reading that you can book with me, and you can just let me know, I'd like you to interpret this full moon in my chart, and I can do a quick 15-minute reading and send it directly to you, and you have it within 72 hours. So you can kind of see where the repercussions of this full moon are happening, and can also prepare for your following lunations if you wish. So I hope this was helpful to you. Please be sure that you check out the Bonfire Babble podcast here in the Seattle area. We do monthly forecasts, and I am your monthly astrologer, so I'm here to share my astrological insights for every zodiacal season. And if you're interested in how the astrology of 2025, the year ahead, is going to affect you, I do have my course online for you to purchase if you're interested. And like I said, my readings are available as well. Be sure you subscribe to my newsletter, Blue Hour, so that way you know once I upload these videos, as well as all of my other astrology and creative projects here, including music, magical rituals, and more, up on cawnawynmore.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this full moon brings you many blessings, awakenings, and a revolution that you might be craving in your soul. Blessed be.